Hello. I know this series has been going insanely slow paced, much slower than I would have liked it to be. At this rate, it's going to take me like my entire life to get through all of classic Doctor Who. So I definitely got to pick up the pace. But yeah, this story just took me so damn long to get through. Um, it's not anything that I would say like up to the story's fault or anything like that. It's just much more along the lines of just how insanely busy I've been and exhausted. I transitioned jobs to a job that is much more time and energy intensive than my previous job, and it's really drained me. So I've had a lot less time and energy to create videos and writing and anything like that. And you know, I figured like as during this time in which I wasn't recording stuff, and I might talk about this in other places. Well, I figured like, hey, like for like talking vlogs, I much prefer that kind of content to be audio based and just being able to pop it on in the background or pop it on in the car or just pop it on and tab over and do something else like while I'm working on stuff. So I figured, hey, like whenever I'm just ranting and talking about something, let's make it audio based. Let's not make it a visual thing and show my face or walking somewhere or anything like that. It's not needed. So I'm gonna try this out. I don't know how long I'll stick to it or anything like that, but I figured, hey, let's talk about the Sensorites. So as I was watching this and it first began to start, I really like the first I should give context that I watched this over the course of like a month or two. And at first I'm like, that's like no way to watch this. You're breaking up the pacing of the story. You're forgetting details. But I'm like, hey, like they watch like when this was first airing, it was watched an episode a week, and it's like, and I think that's the curse of like these early Doctor Who serials being so fucking long. I understand why they did it, but it's like 6 episodes for one story, and it's like by the time you get to the end of it, especially if you're watching at a slow pace, you forget what's happening at the beginning of it. And I tried my best to like recollect and remember everything. I tried to take a few notes. I don't have them with me, of course, as I sit down to record. But like, yeah, so that's kind of how I watched it. But something that like got me right away was this seemed to be like the first time they were like at the beginning, they were like referencing their adventures. They're like, oh, we did the Marinus thing. Like I can't remember exactly what they're saying, but they were like there was there was continuity. And I really like that. I like that there was an address like, hey, this is how far we come. Right now, it's like all of these stories so far I felt like incredibly in isolation, and that they could have happened in any order. You could have just shifted around. I mean, there was some character development and characters getting more comfortable with these style of adventures and like getting used to each other. Like there was so much less animosity between like the Doctor and you know um Ian and Barbara, and everything. That dynamic's much more calm and smoother, and it's like it's become sort of a friendship. So there's development in that sense, but like this, it was nice to see like a blatant acknowledgement of like, hey, these are the adventures we've been on so far. This is kind of what we've been up to. It's like the initial of that continuity, and this is also like I think like thinking back through the early Doctor Who stories. This is the first like as fans dub it the base under siege format story. Like if you're familiar with like the consensus that there's like the 3 or 4 types of Doctor Who stories. One of them is based under siege, in which the Doctor and companion, or plural, land in a space, sometimes past, but usually futuristic space, and there is a crew dealing with some sort of threat. That in a small confined space, and this is the first that seemed to be like they land in a spaceship, and I'm like, oh, this is like very modern Doctor Who. It set like the stage for that. And even looking on the wiki, it said the same thing. Like this is the template for that type of story in like modern Doctor Who, which is cool. And as the story started, it was incredibly interesting. It seems like there was almost like this like, alien species plaguing them, this crew. You don't see them, you don't know much about them. You just know that they're mentally messing with them mentally, and it's like doing weird things to their brain. And that's a really interesting approach, instead of like, oh, aliens sneaking around and sleuthing. And I mean, when they finally reveal what the alien looks like, it like one of the aliens looks like these Sensorites. It was one of the funniest shots I've ever fucking seen. If you've seen this story, it's like the part where like Ian looks out the window and you see like the Sensorite just pop up. I was crying laughing at how funny that shot was. I'll probably try to find that and make it the thumbnail, you know. But it was so fucking funny. Here's my problem with this story, and I would imagine if you've seen it, you agree. It is so long. It almost felt like they were like mandated, oh, we got to make all these stories like 6 parts for some reason, and it was so long that they shifted the entire story of like what it was. Like they're like, okay, there's this like weird like alien species that's like haunting this ship, and they're like kind of mentally, and then it just completely shifts to like, oh, these people are not only incredibly intelligent, they're like highest form of intelligence, like more intelligent than humans. We're gonna bring them down to the planet, and there's gonna be like political machinations amongst the aliens, the Sensorites, and it's like in this like just it just becomes like a political drama of like people vying for power and using these new people as like scapegoats and things like that, and it's just like it just shifts the nature of the story. And I don't think the story it was trying to tell was inherently bad or anything like that, but it's just not the story that it was saying it was at the outset. And that could just be like preconception and preconceived notions of what Doctor Who is now, but like I feel like every story kind of devolves into this lately. Like where it's just like people within whatever society they're visiting are just like politically conniving at. Like I say lately, this is the first season of the first era of the first Doctor. You know, it's like it's not lately. It's just the beginning of the show, and as it was, I feel like every story is just it devolves into just like people vying for power and political machinations and things like that. And it's kind of just I'm kind of getting a little sick of every story becoming this. So far. I don't think this is what it's going to stay like forever, of course. I know the show evolves quite a bit pretty quickly, so I know it's not like what we're going to get, but like consistently. But like, I would have liked a continuation of the story we were getting. This interesting alien species that we don't know much about. That's like, it would have been nice if like, hey, the story ends maybe after 3 or 4 episodes, and we don't know much about this species. Maybe the Doctor found a way for them to escape or something to happen, like that got them away from this threat, but like maybe it's a mystery, like Midnight. That would have been a lot more interesting than it just becoming, oh, these are just hyper intelligent guys. It just kind of, and they're politically vying for power, and it's like, it kind of like defeats the interesting mystery that would like creepy mystery that was happening at the beginning. But yeah, I guess that's my thoughts on the Sensorites. It was cool, great, interesting start that kind of devolved into the sameness of every story that we kind of had so far. And I think that's why the Keys of Marinus is still my favorite story so far. That it's so unique and fresh and a fun adventure. And I just love the Keys of Marinus. But I actually watched the first episode of the next serial, which is like the Reign of Terror, and I'm just like, oh god, we're doing this again. I'm getting sick of it. But we gotta power through on to New Horizons. The Reign of Terror is like just it's based on the Reign of Terror period in French history, and it's like, yeah, it's like this pretty, like we get there and it's like the same fucking political machination shit. Like it's pretty much just like Marco Polo or the Aztecs all over again. I'm just like, oh god, come on. But I'm still like optimistic about things and excited to see where the series goes and evolves, because I know what it's going to evolve into eventually down the line. So it's like cool to see this origin history, and so I'm probably gonna talk about this on another episode, but something that's so fascinating to me that like I try to wrap my head around as I watch these stories is like this man, the first Doctor, is the same. It's the same person as 10 and 13, and like they're like the same person that like fell in love with like Rose and Yaz and everything. I'm just like thinking about that. I'm like, that's so weird and gross and creepy, but it's true. That's what the series is, so just a random thought tidbit there at the end. But yeah, one of the best shots in the whole series was the funniest thing ever was the first sensor like popping out the window. hilarious. I loved the first few parts, and then it kind of just dozed off pretty much toward the end. Like I kind of lost track of what the narrative even was. Like toward the very end, and like the last episode where they found those like remnant humans, I was like, I don't even know what's going on anymore. So yeah, excited to continue forward though. Not necessarily excited for the Reign of Terror, but excited for what comes beyond that reign. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys like the new format. Let me know if you prefer to just see me walk around showing my face. If not, I'm gonna try to stick with this and keep it going. So bye bye.